The E-flite Icon A5. I've wanted one for a long time, but I could never find it. Then, a listing popped up on Facebook Marketplace in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I talked the seller down to $210 from $240 and got totally ripped off. How, you ask? Well, it was my mistake. In my eagerness to own one of these, I totally neglected to ask several crucial questions. Let my mistakes help you figure out what to do when it comes time to buy a used airplane that you're interested in. The model didn't come with a carbon wing tube, and if I hadn't had a spare that fit by pure luck, I would have been totally boned. It didn't come with a motor, or an ESC, or a propeller adapter, or a spinner, or a motor adapter. Nor did it come with servos. I had to buy all of these items, which pushed the total price of the model to $300, well above its original sale point for a model that's already dinged up with hanger rash. You can tell that I'm a shrewd buyer, talking that guy down $30 to spend nearly 3 times that amount just to get the parts needed to make this model fly. Adding to the intrigue, he claimed that it was an ARF, but Horizon never sold an almost ready-to-fly version of this model, so I'm guessing he bought spare parts and just left them to rot in his garage. Oh, and it didn't come with any of the Icon decals either, so that really supports my theory that this was assembled from spare parts. He did say that he sent me some extra goodies to go with it, but I suspect that he did this to clear his garage out from all the junk that was piled up in it. This HD camera is from 2007, for example, and this high-tech servo is so old that it's using a legacy high-tech logo. I'll keep the box because it looks kinda cool, but I don't have any use for plastic-geared servos with how we fly here. So, I scrounged up all of the parts and got them on order through sheer luck that any of it was still in stock with how old this model is, including the final and most crucial part, the motor mount. This came from Canada, Alberta to be specific. When I ordered this part, I figured it would get sent directly to Cary instead of being routed through customs. It is Canada after all, so how long could it really take? The answer is, unfortunately, a really long time. The order was shipped on the 20th of July and didn't make it to my house until August 5th. This is because it went to Los Angeles instead of coming here and sat in processing for a ton of time, then made its way here to Cary leisurely. So, $300 and 3 weeks of shipping time later, and we've got the Icon A5. But was it worth it?
Dips in the water.
Yeah, it's got pontoons, things on the edges of it.
Learning to taxi this model on water was the biggest hurdle to flying it. It is, in every sense of the word, a flying boat. It will roll its wings into the water without enough airspeed to keep them level. Learning to get past this and taxi it correctly took a little bit of effort. Once the wings have enough airspeed to begin generating lift, they stabilize and keep the hull from rolling as easily when you add rudder. It's not intuitive if you're coming from flying a twin pontoon float plane like a Timber or a Cub, but it's a unique challenge and it's fun. Well, here goes nothing. Our first takeoff with a flying boat. Initial impressions? Well, it doesn't roll very well. It's reminiscent of a Timber with how slow it rolls. And it's loud. For being a 3-blade propeller, it makes a ton of noise. Easily one of the loudest prop models I've ever flown. There was a bit of porpoising on takeoff, but that was trimmed out quickly. It felt really good to get this bird in the air after watching it languish in the upstairs hangar for nearly a month.
How's the tracking?
Super.
You able to zoom in out of it all?
Yeah, I'm trying.
My wife joined me to help get this video recorded. Tony wasn't available this day, and we needed some content. She does a great job of keeping up with it. You might see more of her work on float plane uploads in the future. It wouldn't be a maiden flight on this channel if we didn't see what these models could really do. Putting the model into a Lomchavok style tumble was way more responsive than I anticipated it would be. There's a lot we'll be able to do with this model now that we finally got it into the air. Let's get it back on the water and see what else it can do. I'd also set this model up with a 40 amp Avian Light ESC. It's not much of a float plane if it can't reverse in the water. Just gotta be careful to not reverse too quickly. I'm not sure why Horizon ever discontinued this model. There's nothing else out there quite like it. The icon fills a void in the float plane world. It's a flying boat with a pusher prop in a unique flying yacht style that just looks sleek. It's capable of quite a few different aerobatic maneuvers and is just pure fun to fly. Shooting touch and goes with this would be an amazing way to spend a sunset on the lake. It actually does a decent knife edge for having such a small rudder.
There's the tail waggle he was talking about.
Inverted flight is not challenging, and it can perform knife edge spins plus inverted flat spins too. All around, it's a very good aerobatic performer. It's surprising because it's a flying boat. All of this makes me sad that it's discontinued, which means that we'll just have to make sure that we never crash it, because we may never be able to make it airworthy again if we do. We even tried out Spoilerons to see if we can destroy some of the lift and get the model to float less in the sky and manage the sink rate with throttle. It was almost too effective. So to answer the question from earlier, was it worth it? The answer is yes. But not just because I enjoy flying this model, or because I approached it thinking that I'd better love it for how much I spent to make it airworthy. It was worth it to get the experience of buying a used airplane, so I knew what to look for the next time I do it, especially with something that's more expensive. To know what questions to ask, to be unafraid to set a firm fixed price, and to walk away from the deal if it ends up being a pain in the arse. Some key takeaways here for you guys who are new to buying used. Ask for good photos showing all critical aspects of the model. See what servos are being used, or if there are any servos at all. Make sure it's got linkages, a prop adapter, a motor, an ESC, etc. These are all critical details that will save you money in the long run, especially for discontinued models where you might have to get parts fabricated to replace parts that are no longer being manufactured. Don't be afraid to buy used. Just make sure that you're not getting ripped off. Check over the model, ask as many questions as you can, and commit to a fair price for both you and the seller. See you guys next Wednesday.